And yet, what happens next? Do we have another oppressive regime take over, like maybe a half a century from now? Maybe not. Something new is happening, and Barbault didn't talk about that. What he didn't mention was Pluto out of bounds. Rosie Finn's research shows that this is a dialectic. Up and down, Pluto below, Pluto above, Pluto below, Pluto above. And the polarity in the dark and light and the shadow continues. It reminds me of the devil card in the tarot, where Adam and Eve are changed to the devil. And the devil is this polarity universe. Until we break free of that, we are stuck in the ups and downs.
Lunatic astrology.
Welcome to the Barbault Basket Deep Mystery Dive, where we're talking about what the whole internet is talking about. Barbault's Basket is a rare formation named by an astrologer, André Barbault, who has passed away. In fact, he typically focused on one part of the basket called a miniature trine, but today we're talking about the whole formation. This is a basket, guys. It's not just, oh, well, Jupiter is opposite Pluto, and that forms the top of that basket, and that the outer planets that are all hooked up, Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune, form the bottom of this basket. It's bigger, deeper, and greater than that. And the reason is that this formation in our sky right now has the element of wanting to receive something. What drops into that basket, into your life, into the collective sphere? This I don't see a lot of people talking about. Astrological formations are quite literal. So what does this basket receive? The Scorpio and Sagittarius sky. From the Scorpio part of your natal chart and the Sagittarius part of your natal chart, something's dropping into your life in a once in a lifetime and first in a lifetime way. We don't have a way to compare this. There is no comparable sky that we can use that informs us of what this is really about. So we're going to talk today about your story, how this Barbault basket may drop something into your life that doesn't exist before now, that wasn't a possibility until this very moment. This formation becomes very active around July the 16th through to the end of the month of July. So we can say the second half of July is all about that basket. What falls into that basket may be an idea, a person, an event, an opportunity, a job. And this is going to depend on what happens when we look at your sky from your natal chart's perspective. Now, best to listen today for your rising sign. And why I suggest your rising sign is because for most people, 90% of us, the rising sign, our simulation avatar character, is the most accurate when it comes to sky stories, whereas the sun sign is your spiritual eternal nature. And yes, it is important, but often it's deeper layered than the everyday mortal muggle world of this matrix. And so unless you're an awakened being or you are somebody who's been past the age of 45 and the second Saturn opposition has begun to wake you up from the days of your dream, then you're probably going to want to listen for your rising sign. Second, your sun sign. And lastly, your moon is how you feel and think about the whole damn thing called the Barbault's basket, but it may impact your home and domicile. Sun can really orient you towards your career matters as well. Now, some people are really fond of Placidus. I don't want to diss Placidus, but we're using whole sign houses today as we do in all of my videos. And so how to cast your chart in your whole sign house system for free software, look below in my description box for my free video tutorial. Go get that tutorial, do your homework, find out what your whole sign house sky looks like. If you do that, you'll need your birth time. If you don't have a birth time, you're going to have to operate mostly from your sun sign, and that's still okay. So I'm going to bring the sky up. I'm going to show it to you. I can't wait to dive into this, what's dropping into your Barbault basket. Because between now and the end of July, you'll probably have a good clue. And welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Lori Lothian, and this is the Western Tropical Zodiac Astrology. This is not sidereal. I am a total teacher of astrology. It's my favorite thing to do. Give you a fish instead. Don't give you a fish, teach you to fish. So my Sky Reader class is starting 7th season in a row. We begin the 3rd week of September. We run for 7 weeks. Weekly Q&As, 4 to 5 guest teachers on weeknights. My classes, of course, are on the Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time this year, and we're going to have a fun time Discord group, Facebook group for meeting other students. It's a ride of a lifetime. Most of my Sky Reader students love it. They even come back to audit the course every year at a deep 75% off. So once you're in the door, you're in for life, and you'll get evergreen access to this course. It never goes away. It's yours to keep and study for life. If you can't make the live classes, you might be able to make the Q&As based on your time zone, but I'd love to see you there. Check it below for the description box, and until the end of July, there's a 40% discount on tuition. So if you check below, you'll see all of the information about that. One thing I want to mention is that André Barbault was extremely accurate. He predicted the world financial crisis of 2008-9. He predicted the pandemic. He predicted, there was something else he predicted, pandemic, world financial crisis. He got a lot of stuff right. And the thing is that he used the outer planets to do that. And he died in 2019, and even though he predicted the pandemic in 2020, he died before it happened. So he didn't get to live to see the results of that prediction. But he was using Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, those three outer planets primarily, to some degree maybe Jupiter as well, and Saturn. But you're looking at the ratio of distance between them. And when they were all clustered tightly together, right? When especially the three outer planets were tightly together, there was world calamity and events based on where they were clustered. And as they begin to spread apart and have some breathing room, we begin to move into times when humanity was having a nice time. Things were going swell. And so this was his predictive tool. It was very simple, but it was also very mathematical. And he wasn't a mystic, you know, he wasn't like, oh, love and light. And yet he thought, that the time we're in now, with this energy going through the sky of Uranus trining Pluto from Gemini to Aquarius for the next 7 years, while at the same time Neptune gets involved in Aries, creating a miniature trine called a minor grand trine. And this minor grand trine was active in 25, it's active in 26, and it's active in 2027. So we're seeing this, in his estimation, as a relaunch of a splendid time for humanity, a new civilization, but we don't do it without the bumps and the grinds. And there's the dark and the light and the polarity and the shadow, especially with Uranus and Gemini, which activates that Jekyll and Hyde quality and that collective polarization of people always wanting to take sides. But in the midst of that, Pluto is out of bounds. And astrologer Rosie Finn has dived into tons of research that when Pluto is out of bounds, and this is happening for the next decade intermittently, and as I record on July the 11th, Pluto is out of bounds, I believe, but he's definitely going to, every late summer into the fall, break free of the trough of the ecliptic, the sun's tether in the sky. And when he does that now in the south declination. And that is historically when people rise up and take power back from their oppressors, from their controllers, for those elite people who have the power over others. And so when the general people, the everyday soul, the masses rise up, we saw the Protestant Reformation against the controls of the Catholic Church. When we saw the French and American revolutions, Pluto was out of bounds in the south declination, and we saw the rise of the people over the power. And you know, when you think about it, and I think about this a lot of the time, actually, it's like, who cares, right? People push back, and then we have Pluto in the north declination in the 1940s during the establishment of the blue and white state in the Middle East, secret service agencies, Bretton Woods institutions, IMF, World Bank. Those were all formed when Pluto was in the north declination, along with the rise of Stalin, Mussolini, and Hitler. That's when we all had despots and power control structures, even though it's supposed to look good, the New World Order, beginning to be formed in the 40s into the early 50s. And we've been under that repressive regime ever since. And today we see the world going, what the hell? Most collective everyday people are recognizing that there is a lot of propaganda, a lot of ways that there's a manipulation of information and spinning and controlling the collective narrative to manipulate us. And we're seeing that now. People are jaded. They don't believe what they are told anymore by government bodies or institutions, and they don't blame them. And so we're going to rise up and push back in the next 10 years. And this is a splendid relaunch of a civilization. And yet, what happens next? Do we have another oppressive regime take over, like maybe a half a century from now? Maybe not. Something new is happening, and Barbault didn't talk about that. What he didn't mention was Pluto out of bounds. Rosie Finn's research shows that this is a dialectic. Up and down, Pluto below, Pluto above, Pluto below, Pluto above. And the polarity in the dark and light and the shadow continues. It reminds me of the devil card in the tarot, where Adam and Eve are changed to the devil. And the devil is this polarity universe. Until we break free of that, we are stuck in the ups and downs, the love and the hate, the wealth and the poverty, but also the polarization of people against each other. And what I want to mention about that is that the cool thing is Pluto will not go into the north or the south declination in the foreseeable future. Our software can't even generate when he goes back into a sine wave out of the trough of the ecliptic which is like 23 degrees of Cancer and Capricorn. It's like the tropics of those places. The celestial ecliptic mirrors this. And in my view, that means we're done. Something about the time we're living through is ending the time of polarity. It's ending the time of us going back and forth from controlling power structures over people pushing back to get the power and then becoming the controllers themselves. Just like an abused child will often become the abuser. And then we've seen this cycle over and over again. You have to look no further than the Middle East right now, where a flag, blue and white flag nation has become the oppressor and the attacker, where they used to be the victim and the oppressed, right? So the cycle doth continue. So let's talk about what this means in your life. This basket formation, which I don't think Barbault called it that. He said we will come into the mini trine, and that will be a time of the opening of harmony and peace amongst all peoples and a golden age dawn for humanity. And I think he even talked about fairness for everybody and a new information age as well. And that could be quantum computing, which is taking off and will probably decimate AI and the crypto markets, but that's another video. The feeling I have is that we're not going to polarize anymore. And so what Barbault really was seeing was, in a way, beyond this trine, he was getting into the vibe of Pluto no longer being the guy who takes us on the yo-yo ride up and down through the north and south declination. Before I show you the chart and we do your sign, and I'm not going to really cover much world astrology today, I want you to also think about the idea of why we fight each other. Because with Uranus in the sign of Gemini, the mortal and immortal twin, and with Mercury having his cazimi in the heart of the sun on Sunday, July the 12th in my time zone, in the sign of polarity, duality, mortal and immortal nature, bracketed by the sign Castor and Pollux, the two twins, mortal and immortal, from the ancient mythology. We have a very special, not seen since 1990 and 1947, reset button by Mercury that lasts through till the midterm elections in the United States until November of 2026. Something profoundly different wants to happen in our collective sphere. And I think we have to stop fighting each other. That, you're rotten, evil, and bad because, say, you're a Democrat or Republican. I'm Canadian, I'm neither. Do we villainize the other? Because what I'm getting from that is just the same old play. There's puppeteers above that. And I really want to credit my colleague and friend, Dan Waits. Please go check his channel out. He talked about this in his video, The Great Split. All right, go over there and tell him I sent you. And it really got my mind thinking again about Pluto Out of Bounds. So I think he may have dropped that video on July the 11th, but go check it out. Now let's get started. Don't forget, come join me in Sky Reader. Come check out everything about me in the description box below, Substack, Patreon community, and please consider the liking, subscribing, and hyping. If you like this kind of content, it gets me really jazzed to prepare it for you. And when you receive it, you can just tip me with a like and a subscribe and a comment. This is the sky that we're talking about. And there is the Jupiter opposite Pluto. And this is the basket formed by Uranus, right? Sextiles Neptune. And Uranus is also sextiling Jupiter. And Neptune is sextiling Pluto. And if it was just this basket here, as my cursor is going, this triangle, that's called a minor grand trine or a miniature grand trine. It's very auspicious and powerful, and it brings good things to our life. And this basket embeds a secondary trine. This is Barbault's one that he talked about. This other one here is forming just because we have the addition of Jupiter. He creates a second triangle in the sky, and he's Santa Claus, fairy godfather, and the greater benefic. There's nothing about Jupiter we don't like in almost any situation. He just expands and makes bigger what he touches, good or bad, but ultimately he's the dispeller of darkness, the wisdom holder, the truth seeker, and the guru. And he represents things that are fertile and that protect us and allow humanity to flourish. So, Jupiter is opposite Pluto. And I dropped us here on July 16th because Jupiter, basically 3.5, Pluto, 4.5. We call this a 1 degree of separation, and it's really heating up. So we can say the basket is really heating up July the 16th. It'll be heated up pretty well to the end of the month. And there's a thing going on in the sky. Before we start talking about the Leo and go around the dial, I want you to consider the 4th degree of anything in your chart. Why? Because when you were born, you might have your sun or your moon or your midheaven or your descendant or a node of fate or a planetary placement. in the 4th degree. And that's important because you'll notice that there's a damn well party on number 4. We have a party with Neptune at 4 degrees, Uranus at 4 degrees, Jupiter at 4 degrees, and Pluto at 4 degrees. What the heck? This is indicating that the basket is based on that 4th degree. And it interestingly will activate any planet you have anywhere in the chart at 4 degrees. So I want you to look for 4-degree planets. Now, when I say 4, you can go 3, 4, or 5. I want it to be tight. I'm not here to do a reading. I'm not your astrologer. I can't tell you what it means in the comments. That's way too much work for me to do that. I'd be doing readings for hundreds of people. Just know that the planet that gets involved in the basket, whether it's actually sitting near 4 Aquarius, most potent is a sun, moon, rising, or planet at near 4 Aquarius, near 4 Aries, near 4 of Gemini, or near 4 degrees of Leo. Those are the places you need to focus on the most. But yes, also 4 degrees anywhere else. Okay, anywhere else, because one of these planets will sextile, trine, or oppose your 4-degree planet, pulling it into the basket, drawing it into the story. All right, and that's a magical thing to explore. I honestly should have done a webinar on that for you guys, but I didn't have time. All right. We'll start with Leo today, and we're going to also say one thing about world politics only. I'm just not in a world politics mood, but I will broadly speak to the basket in terms of major themes in the world, right now as we speak. We have anyone with a Leo sun, moon, and rising, no matter the degree, in world affairs or countries with these placements being highly awakened by this basket. Iran, Leo rising. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Leo rising. Probably Erica Kirk and Tulsi Gabbard, based on my rectifications, Leo rising. All right, so that's that energy, right? The Leo energy is tightly activated. How about anything that's got strong Gemini placements, people, places, things, or countries? Well, Donald Trump's a Gemini, Gemini sun, for example. You can come up with more Geminis for me. What about anything in the Aries sky at all? It doesn't have to be on the degree of anything, just an Aries energy. Tulsi Gabbard has an Aries sun. Iran has an Aries sun. These are very activated people, places, and things at this time. Taiwan has an Aries sun. Moving on over. Aquarius, Pluto, who activates? China is an Aquarius rising. There is a chart for Russia, placing it as an Aquarius rising. Russia has many charts. Anything with a strong Aquarius person, place, or thing in our collective sphere will be highly activated, right? So there's just a vibe of those people, places, and things that you'll see a big upswell of activity coming from this basket. The basket is dropping goodness into it, but it's formed by a stark opposition between Jupiter and Pluto. And Jupiter in Leo means leader or king. Pluto means death. So we see the death of kings, all right? And we might say with Venus on the south node, the death of a king, because the south node is on the star Regulus. It's now at 0 degrees of Virgo, used to be at 29 when Donald Trump was born, of Leo. And anything to do with someone who's got a strong placement on the star Regulus, which is power, fame, glory, wealth, influence, and a fine print, do a noble job, or get kicked out of Dodge, go to jail, whatever, fall from power through hubris and pride. And so it doesn't work well when leaders are despotic, for example, right? And so therefore you might see some south node on Regulus, loss, illness, or fall of leaders in big positions of power. Venus is departing from the actual conjunction on the 16th onward, but she is the ruler of the Chironic energy up here, the wounds, and she's also the ruler of things that have to do with Taurus placements. And so significant Taurus people, places, and things. Joe Biden, Taurus moon, for example. Memory serves me, maybe King Charles is a Taurus moon, for example. Taurus moon is also... And by the way, the Pope would be the Leo energy, Pope Leo, getting involved. But the falling away of power for leaders and kings, King Charles, Joe Biden, these people could be ill or passing over the next few months, at least the next month. And then on top of that, people and places with strong Taurus positions, such as Sun, I said the nation's name, in the sign of 23 degrees of Taurus. And the sun of that country will be square the total solar eclipse of July the 20th. That's a big deal. August the 20th. That can backwash to the now and cause a massive fall of somebody in a position of leadership in that nation as well. All right, so that's the world astrology. Let's start with your sign. Don't forget, liking and subscribing is the medicine for my channel Soul. And I read my comments too, believe it or not. I can't read all of them, but I read them when I have time when I'm multitasking and stuff. So if you have a comment, let me know. If you want to join my members only community, I prioritize your comments, and it's not hard. My app shows me when you guys are making comments, and I try to get back to my members only here prioritized, as well as to get extended members versions of the sky every week on Mondays. Okay, so how do you listen for your sun, moon, and rising sign? People ask me all of the time. Let me explain it to you very briefly. You know, when you were born, you were a spirit and you entered into the zone of matter, and you are playing here, hopefully, and having somewhat of a good time. And that's your sun energy. Your sun is your divine spark, it is your spiritual essence. It comes here from beyond space and time. It's ostensibly lived many different lives. And this aspect of you, this eternal nature, is one of the flavors of God or the divine or the creator or source. And you think about the 12 signs and the 12 sun signs, we have elements earth, air, water, and fire. And we have modalities fixed, cardinal, and mutable. You have a quality of the divine. You are an article of the universe, a tiny little spark of what is the one thing. And so when you think about your sun sign and you listen for that in astrology, you're thinking about your purpose for being incarnated. It often aligns you with career, aligns you with a sense of meaning. Your sun has to come into reality in a form called a body. That is your ascendant. Your ascendant is your character in the simulation of life. You could think of the sun as the movie actor, and you can think of the role in the movie that the actor is playing as your ascendant. So think about how your solar light infuses the character you're here to become and play. And that character is often cemented into being in the first 7 years of life. It's how you look, it's your personality traits and characteristics, it's how people respond to you, it's your mask and persona, and it's the vehicle for your spirit to play. And in many ways, it could be called a spacesuit. But I think this is a simulation. This ain't based reality. So, in the simulation of life, like in the movie The Matrix, Neo is playing a character who works in an office in an unreal environment. And so your real self is somewhere else, but is playing this game. Now, when you think about your ascendant, you're going to notice that it's also very circumstantially accurate in terms of predictive value. That's because it's the beginning of the chart. It exists in the first house. It is what we call the helmsman energy, the steering wheel of your life. And often this part of the chart is going to be very sensitive to planetary transits and Time Lord tools. So you'll find it to listen in astrology for your ascendant or your rising sign is useful. To cast your chart in whole sign houses, you look below and get my free video tutorial. And you'll need to know a birth time in order to find your ascendant. Now, when you're listening for your moon sign is how you feel and how you think about your life. You know, I think my partner's mean and not nice to me, and I feel really in love with you, my child, or something. So your feelings are right here, and the solar plexus. Your thinkings are up here, and that thinking, feeling complex can be condensed into the word your mind. Your moon is your mind. It means many other things because the sun can represent dad, father figures, and moon, mother and mother figures, but it's also your response to life, your subjective well-being, half full, half empty cup. Your moon is how you emotionally respond and think and respond, because every feeling is connected by a thought, and every thought has a feeling. Trust me on that one. So you listen to the moon sign when you want to hear how you respond to life in that emotional mental capacity. And it will often connect to matters of home. I always joke, every time a moon is eclipsed in my chart, my Aries moon, I always have a move within months. In fact, I just moved to a new place that you're seeing here from the March eclipse of my moon. So ultimately speaking, your moon is sensitive to domicile and where you live as well. So hopefully that helps you listen for all three. When we do the moon and sun, we just rotate the chart to the first house. So if you have an Aries moon like I do, we just spin the wheel. So we're as if Aries is an ascendant, but we talk about it as if it's an ascendant, and we call it your moon in Aries and derived houses. Same with the sun. We rotate the sun to the ascendant. All right. Whew, hopefully that makes sense to you guys, and go ahead and enjoy the rest of the video where I do the all signs portion. Now that you know what you're listening for, at least you'll know what to expect. And today I'm going to break rank and start with Leo. I'm going to start with Leo because you got Jupiter in your sign, and he's forming one handle or one corner of this handleless basket. Some people call it a cradle. You can call it anything you want, but it receives energy. So I'm going to bring it over to you and we're going to get started. Now, let's share that screen so that you can see what I am seeing. Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Leo, your story is powerful because you have to hold one corner of this darn basket. Are you feeling the basket in your hand? The corner of the basket is you, with you, as you, and you play a pivotal role in basket time. The two placements where the energy is dropping into the basket, and I didn't explain why in the intro, is Scorpio and Sag. Why? Because Mars rules Scorpio, and Mars, not Pluto, please, Mars is here holding the basket bottom with Uranus. And so he's influencing the story and he's ruling that fourth house. And guess what else? Jupiter is ruling Sagittarius. So Jupiter is here holding the basket and dropping stuff from here. In other words, you can expect, because two pieces of the basket are ruled by planets that have domicile rulership, Jupiter and Mars are engaged. We'll see things flying in here and flying in here. Let's break it down. You are basically somebody who can receive very powerful stories in the next 2 weeks, right? As this basket is still pretty formed up. So the last 2 weeks of July, expect some good fortune. Expect some fertility, expect some goodness coming from your fifth house of children, creativity, romantic love. A single Leo might find the love of a lifetime. Who knows, right? It's a rare formation here. In fact, there's a dreamy flow to soulmate Neptune in the ninth house. So there's a potential for new romance. There's a potential for the dropping in the next 2 weeks of a real important fertility story, an entrepreneurial success opportunity. And good fortune can also lead, in this case, to winning money. And the reason is that Uranus and Mars are in the house of windfall, so pennies from heaven. So if you're thinking you want to buy a lottery ticket in the second half of July and you're a Leo, why the hell not? And some of the good fortune may also arise from the good graces of a friend, a benefactor, ally, or a sibling too older than you. Those types of people are like throwing stuff into your basket. If you want it, you got it. Sorry, I'm doing this because I had this weird like sinus pressure. And then you notice that the 10th house, the fourth house at the bottom of your sky, that's your home, your domicile, your ancestors, your parents. It's things that go on in your private life. And you're probably going to be busy generating things in your private life that are going to bring you some kind of success in your career, because whatever drops from the fourth house will fall to the bottom of the basket, the 10th house. And so you're really looking at career opportunity of some kind, coming from things you're doing in and from your home, generating it in and from your home, ideas, opportunities, or career opportunities that want to enter that basket close to home, in your hometown, etc. And ultimately, the fourth house can also bring you some kind of drop in the basket that opens up a very profound purpose for you, because Chiron is the key to purpose. He's there until September 17th in your 10th house. Rather than just a jab or some money, you might indeed be getting career opportunities that feel like you just hit the nail on the purpose head. And all said and done, if any of you are thinking of selling a home, there's a way this guy lines up for the perfect opportunity to get the damnedest good price you've ever wanted. And the same thing goes for buying a home. Both of those measures work in extraordinary ways to bring you good luck in that capacity. This would be a good time, therefore, in the next couple of weeks through to the end of August to potentially buy a home, sell a home, and maybe receive positive results. We think about the basket as what you want to receive, not what you have to do, right? So let the universe drop the goodie bags into the basket for you. If your Leo sun or moon or rising is near 4 degrees, okay, and then don't forget this Jupiter will move the day after, or 2 days after into 4 degrees. Now we're on July 18th. Then of course you're going to feel this very strongly. And if you have any planets at 4 degrees of Scorpio or 4 degrees of Sag, look to the nature of that planet and the houses it rules in your chart to see also where there may be collateral benefits dropping into your basket. Venus would be love and money, and Mars would be things to do with decisions and actions, and just Saturn is structure. So if you have any planets here 4 degrees of Scorpio, near 4 degrees of Sag in particular. It's very tightly wound into this basket and it wants to drop in. Okay, it wants to drop right in there. So Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, the basket is wide open, waiting to receive. And what it wants to have drop into its bucket is it wants things that come from your Sagittarius sky and your Scorpio sky. Now, this means good things can fall into your life in the last 2 weeks of July from siblings. And in particular, siblings can be of great benefit to you in some way, particularly in helping you align with purpose. You could have basket droppings as well. Sounds kind of weird, basket droppings that allow for writing and book publishing success. You could have basket droppings on this axis for golden travel opportunities. Whatever drops into this basket, you're going to be very happy with it. And interestingly, because Mars is the one who's ruling what drops in your basket, he's busy in your career. So you could have career advancement. You get a call back for a job interview. You get in the next 2 weeks of July, you find your career opportunity like goldenly arising before you. The ninth house is often human resources, bureaucracies, infrastructures within corporations. Maybe you're going to end up getting, scouted out, headhunted, taking that interview and going through some hoops with human resource departments. But Pluto is in the house of, career and job work opportunities. So, flying through the sky is something that looks like maybe an opportunity professionally. And technically, the third house would say in your neighborhood, close to home, or in the online world. With the fourth house being activated, Jupiter's own domain, there is an activation of home, property, land, and real estate, and perhaps some changes or successes there. Now, this could also connect you straight up to that career house where you want to get a job. And if you do, you get a job close to home, but maybe not. Jupiter's in the house of distant lands and shores. So maybe you would have an opportunity, but it could be remote. You could be working online more than you are anything, working from home. And you might find that very much pleases you. Or a foreign company, foreign entity may give you a job, promotion, or raise, but there's a change going on. We see it up here. Something dramatic wants to shift, and likely by the time Mars is leaving the sign of Gemini, which I can't remember because I got 1,000 pieces of data in my little head here. You might, let's say, remember when he leaves Gemini sometime in August, you might get yourself a darn good career redirection going here from this Barbault Basket energy. If you have a planet in Scorpio or Sagittarius, particularly close to 4 degrees, right, then this is an even more auspicious basket for you. If you know the meaning of the planet, you know the meaning of the blessing or the thing that drops in, right? Like Venus is money and career, money and love, and Mars is like actions and decisions and stuff like that. So maybe I would say once you know the meaning of that planet that gets entangled from Scorpio or from Sag, you'll understand a little bit more deeply what kinds of portfolios of possibility are dropping into that basket for you. I'd love to hear back what happens on this by the end of July. You should have a real handle on what this is about because the basket is going to be very strong until then. Lastly, look really closely for opportunities that connect to career through emails, phone calls, and text messages that drop into your world that are surprising and unexpected. You weren't planning it, or you didn't plan on it, or it showed up, and it looks like it checks out as career success. A very, very few of you might move your home to a distant shore, foreign land, or even want to rent a home because of this story. And you're highly connecting the dots here to work and career and money, but also to changes in your kind of like your deeper mission in life. Like, what is it you're really trying to accomplish? With Chiron opposite the Scorpio third house, there's that dharmic alignment you're looking for. Where am I going in life? What is my purpose? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? Jupiter rules your seventh house of marriage. There may be some significant changes in your marriage, but this is not so much the basket dropping in story, but maybe something that the basket is contained in. Therefore, maybe some changes in your life are also connected to changes in your relationship to a significant long-term love partner. Okay, and it probably looks good on you. The basket is benign for the most part and positive for the most part. It's full of those blue lines. So Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. Barbault's basket is here, or the cradle formation is up and running. Now, this cradle formation is going to want to receive something. It really becomes highly active on June 16th to the end of July. It's really a 2-month video for a forecast reason. And if you have any planets at 4 degrees, as I said in the intro, of any sign, you really love the feeling of this basket, 4 degrees, with a degree on either side. Now, Libra. Your ruler, Venus, is not playing directly with the basket. She's off doing her own thing here in your 12th house of solitude, time alone, downwind, contemplation and introspection. It's a little bit like going offline from the regular world right now in your life. You're probably interior rather than trying to show up in a big way exteriorly in your life. You're relaxing a bit. You're like in my downtime time. I have a Libra friend, so she's on strike from her work routines right now. That's the vibe here for you. And at the same time, the last 2 weeks of July, as the basket's really lit, it's going to ask to receive something like a bushel, a basket bushel for apples falling in. And the falling in of the basket, he's here from the second house of money, earnings, and resources, voice, vocation, and calling, all the way to the third house, which represents your social media landscape, your siblings, travel opportunities, short distance, learning or teaching skills-based stuff, maybe even marketing and selling. And sometimes the third house is just your neighbors, cousins, extended family, maybe uncles and aunts. And siblings, right? So all of that. So these are where things are dropping into your world. That's because Jupiter is ruling Sagittarius and he's holding that darn basket, trining your Sag sky as well. The droppings of the basket could open up opportunities that feel like, whoa, windfalls, pennies from heaven, lucky breaks, but maybe connected to siblings, childhood friends, travel opportunities, online social media stuff. Maybe you could also have a basket drop moment because you consulted a diviner, a scryer, or a crystal ball gazer. You went to the oracle, the everyday oracle, and got your guidance. Do that during the basket time through to the end of July because I think it would really work nicely in your chart. And with the Scorpio part of the sky ruled by Mars, who's a part of the basket, like he's co-sharing basket holding with Uranus, Mars would say, let's drop some goodie bags in from the money house. This is your earnings and their savings and your pocketbook and your wallet. This is what you possess, including the money you have. And so in this regard, you'll notice that there's this kind of influx of money coming to you from the next 2 weeks. And in a lot of ways, it's going to really help you heal something to do with financial wounds where you've been feeling like somehow you could be, there are many ways we're wounded financially. We could be a workaholic. We get a lot of money, but ain't got no satisfaction. We could have no money, but we love our passionate hobby or something. So we might have bad thoughts about money as the root of all evil, which it isn't. It's the love of money. So there's a kind of calibration around wounds around wealth and money with Chiron's position that in the next 2 weeks of July, you might be self-correcting here. But that doesn't stop money from literally showing up. Mars is in a Lakshmi wealth and luck house, and there can be some money and positive developments, but I would look to the field of ninth house matters. Writing, publishing industry, by the way, based on Jupiter, right in the third house, published in the ninth, some golden buckets and nuggets, maybe financially, maybe just golden opportunities, anything to do with international or shorter distance travel, golden bucket opportunities. And finally, you might have someone wealthy, influential, or famous, so to speak, invite you to be exposed to their audience, whether it's a boardroom lecture, a podcast interview. Some people in places of power want to lift you up and support you in the 2 weeks that follow this basket, saith Jupiter in the sky. So trust the instinct, because with Pluto in your house of good fortune, you could also have some powered up wealth. Not a shabby time for playing a lottery. You're just one of the signs that it's okay to buy a lottery ticket in the 2 weeks of this basket, mid-April, mid-July to the end of July, okay? Starting really to heat up around July the 16th to the end of the month. All right, good luck with that, Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And love to hear more about how that fits for your life. Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. Well, the sky is opening a basket here, and you have to drop something into it. And this rare formation is activating a lot of energy across the axis of your 10th and 4th. This is very angular for your sign, meaning it has pivotal life-changing import in your reality. You are one of the signs for which it's angular. It's angular for the fixed signs. You are a fixed sign. So this angularity means that no matter what else I say, at the end of the day, this is a game-changing piece of real estate for you. This basket makes a difference. The basket is ruled by, well, it's not ruled by, the basket is held by Jupiter, and is co-held by Mars. And I'm picking these guys out because they're close enough to the actual story to count. And there is a feeling with this particular basket that the goodie bags that could drop your way from the openings that are here are the pieces of sky that we would call Scorpio, you, and Sagittarius, your money. And I know I hear questions about why I don't use Saturn, because Saturn is not really having much celestial real estate. He's too, to my humble opinion, this is too sidebar to the basket to easily drop in. I'm going to focus on the obvious, Scorpio and Sag. So what happens when something drops in here? Most likely, you are dropping it in. You are taking action. You are the one in charge. You are the one who's going to say, this is what I want to create in my life. This is what I want to drop into the basket that's receiving something for me. And because the basket's held by a Jupiter in the career house, Pluto in the house of home and domicile, you're going to drop something that's very fundamental into your world that has to do with what you want to accomplish in your career, or your path, or your reputation, or your visible actions in the world. Now, because the basket is also going to bring your eyeballs to Chiron in your wedding, marriage, long-term business and love partnerships house, you're also going to notice that there's a lot of focus you may have on how your significant other is doing. I don't know. This is not my kind of sky to start a new relationship. So that's not the best sky for the next 2 weeks of July. This is you working with someone you care for in business partners or love partners, and allowing for that energy to float towards them in a positive way as well, including just your very own attention. With the second house activated by Jupiter, you want to drop some money into the bucket. Why not? Resources, financial wellness into this bucket. How can you do that? Jupiter says it's career wellness or money from a father figure in your life. Kaboom, drop it in. Yes, unfortunately with Mars and Uranus in the 8th house, the potential is for it to be inheritance money, Pluto, and legacy wealth. It doesn't mean you're going to get money in the last 2 weeks of July or into early August when the basket's still in its visible form. It means that you may know that the money will be coming to you. So there's a potential of money from some source arriving. It can be a career money, could be a severance package, could be a commission check. It's likely, though, connected to a father figure in your life, family of origin money, or money resources connected to your career. For example, my son will take paternity leave because his baby's on the way, and maybe he'll just drop some money will drop into his account, kind of like a paycheck for your vacation break, right? Not really a vacation, but yeah, you can't tell the kids that yet, can you? Because they don't know how lack of sleep they're going to have. So funny, my son's like, oh, we're still renovating the bathroom. I'm like, oh my God, you've got 2 weeks to go. Baby's on the way. Like you don't want to wait till it's like, oh, really? Yeah, you don't want to wait till the baby's born. You will never finish that renovation till the baby's 2 years old. Oh my God, you guys know, how first-time parents have no clue what they're in for. So, but that could be paternity leave money coming my son's way, simply said. All right, lastly, one thing I want to mention about the basket for you is that, the Pluto-Jupiter opposition is a brand new energy for you here, and it's really going to transform your career over the next till 2044. Jupiter will continually yearly oppose Pluto to some degree. And, I want you to really start thinking about career in a new light, because the way you've thought about purpose and career, even if you're retired, until these new stories have emerged, you ain't seen nothing yet. And you could connect to what is basically a wealth yoga. It's an opposition, but it's a millionaire energy. And while there may be a struggle and a push-pull, one of your key codes, Scorpio, is how rich can you get? Right? How rich can you become by 2044, right? No small feat, but keep that in mind. And whatever wealth means to you, because your wealth house is Jupiterian, it's ruled by Sag, you have a more noble approach than the average muggle to money. You want it to have a kind of good faith vibe, right? Good money, noble money, wise money. And so rather than chasing the paper, you probably haven't. But this can allow more money and more wealth to begin to percolate this basket, but also this new formation that will continue through to 2044, Jupiter opposite Pluto every year. Well, Sagittarius, welcome to your basket. Now the basket is opening up a corridor of wanting to wake up things that can drop. And the most easy droppage points, obviously, is the directly across Scorpio, kaboom, to the bottom of the basket. And of course, Sag, kaboom, to the bottom of the basket. These two are literally where the apples are falling into this basket. You'll notice that your basket is anchored at the top by Jupiter in Leo in your ninth house of God, which is a very dharmic house and meaning and purpose and wisdom and knowledge. Also court cases and legal matters and book publishing and academia. And that it is opposite Pluto in your third house of siblings and all of that. More importantly, social media short distance trips, the basket wants to drop these pieces in. Now, what can drop in from your 12th house is spiritual enlightenment. And don't discount what I just said. You just never know. You could have a spiritual awakening of great magnitude, but it will come through a significant other person because Mars is in the house of others. Someone can come into your world, drop a shock bomb of an insight at you, and kaboom, you're spiritually awakened, liberated, walking in water. Take your pick. You could also find yourself having intersections here in the basket, dropping into the basket with foreign lands, foreign people, foreign countries, foreign things, faraway places, digital income and borderless revenue, kaboom, into the basket. But because it's ruled by Mars, it may involve an intersection with business partnerships, significant people from other places, like people have to help. And, this whole section looks at the chironic wound in the house of work and debts. And if you're considering you have too much debt, you're too indebted, not just karmically, but to your credit card or bank or mortgage. This can be a turning point. This can make a change in a shocking way where you're able to make a debt elimination or debt repatriation or debt payment story happen in the last 2 weeks of July. With Jupiter is ruler of your sign, you are looking at your contribution as Scorpios were directly to the basket bottom. What do you want to drop in this basket? I don't know. You have to tell me. Neptune says use your imagination, really visualize what it is that you think looks good on you. This is a manifestation house, the fifth house. I won't go into all of it now, but under best conditions, it helps us align our will with the divine will. And so it looks like you might end up being able to visualize with Neptune some structures you want to see in your life. Use this next 2 weeks of July to do imagination and vision boards and visualizations, okay? And see what you can drop into your basket of goodness. It could definitely look like many different opportunities to be rewarded by your own decisions and choices of what you want to create in life rather than just experience. Become co-creative is what I'm saying. Learn the co-creative arts in the next 2 weeks. Go watch a Neville Goddard playlist at Brian Scott's channel. Okay, go Brian Scott, Neville Goddard playlist, start there, and then never look back. Now, one thing I want to mention as well is that as you're going to drop something into the basket, because you are that, Jupiter is ruling the droppage. And Jupiter is extremely placed in one of those good faith houses, noble intentions, wisdom, knowledge, spiritual truth, religious ideology. So you have to drop droppings that are also in alignment with your purpose. There's nothing about this. It's deeply noble, right? And so, you might want to create something as you drop something that impacts your spouse in a positive way, that impacts your audience marketplace outreach in a positive way. If you are not with somebody and you're single, you don't have a spouse, you might want to try to conjure a new partner in your life, except that Venus in detriment in the 10th house with the South Node makes me wonder if that's your true goal. But you could conjure a relationship that will go the distance and feel like a dream come true. But look for the Venus South Node energy to indicate some new relationship with somebody that you feel a deep soulmate karma with, and may be very much a feeling of familiarity. If it's anything else other than like, I feel like I've known you forever, it's probably not the one you're conjuring, okay? So in the 2 weeks that follow this, conjuring a new relationship, you ask the universe, tell me who's coming. Well, I know I'll feel like I've known them forever from the very first time I meet them. And you can meet that person in this kind of chart in a professional setting, okay? Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. I may need water before I finish this video. Let's see how much time I have. I started with Leo. Okay, Capricorns, hang in there. This girl needs liquid. You are looking Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising at the basket, forming across a financial axes. Jupiter in the money, chunky money house. Give me some chunky money. A paycheck that comes from nowhere, like a tax rebate or inheritance money, spousal support checks, whatever. You're not working for it. It's other people's money that's coming your way. Shared resources, royalty income, Google AdSense, ka-ching, ka-ching. And that Jupiter brings you a lot of money luck there. That's a whole story. I've done a Jupiter video on this already in Leo. And Pluto is wealth in a money house. So there's a kind of like a top of the basket seems to be very financially oriented, if you know what I mean. And at the same time as this is occurring across that axis in your chart, you're going to notice that you are able to drop into this basket July 16th, or even earlier, the 14th, all the way through to the end of the month. You're able to drop easily things from the Scorpio and Sag sky. Why? Jupiter is ruling Sag. Mars with Uranus is ruling Scorpio. If you're dropping something into the Scorpio part from the Scorpio story, you're dropping something in the house of good spirit, which is about those windfalls that we can receive, the unexpected fairy godmother pennies from heaven. Since seemingly out of nowhere, something good is happening, like it feels like a gratitude moment. And what could drop in here can also come from siblings, an older sibling, one above you, I should say, and a friend who really favors you, like it's like a benefactor or an ally status. And this can slop and flop right into that basket, kaboom, aiming particularly for your fifth house of good fortune. This could be very strong energy for a new job opportunity based on Mars's current placement that feels golden, an entrepreneurial success story, an opportunity to get hired in your dream work, or to be finding a dream employee based on where Mars is sitting. But on the other hand, just the fifth house and the droppage in here, right, is important. Something wants to arrive that feels like a windfall and has a flavor of good fortune. When Jupiter is involved, Jupiter is like the greater benefic, and he always tries to bring something good, and that's your chunky money house, so there we go. But he's dropping it from the 12th. Now, the dark side of this, and it's not really dark, but it is things to do with illness in the sense that it can be medical centers or hospitals or jails or any isolation chamber. So the 12th house is connected to what drops in. This means that somebody who is not well, maybe getting ready to depart this world, might want to drop some money your way, because this is an inheritance house, you see, and Saturn, and this could be an elder with cognitive decline, for example. So there is a potential for a grandparent or a very old parent dropping some moolah down your wallet here, or money from your in-laws, and inheritance money from the family of your significant other could also drop into your bucket of your story, into this bucket. The 12th house is enlightenment. It's liberation from the dream. It's the way we wake up from the limitations of our compressed mental apparatus of our thinking mind. Worry. It's a mind that travels to the past, present, and future, but never the present. It just bypasses it. That part of our egoic identity is where Jupiter is like, let's drop the egoic structure. And the 12th house is the full liberation, what we would call God unity consciousness, probably in Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's take on it. So there's kind of an opening here because Jupiter is in a liberation house, a moksha liberation. Neptune is in a liberation house at one corner of the basket. Jupiter is fulfilling the 12th house. Let's drop in a little bit of light of spiritual awakening. Look to the last 2 weeks of July, therefore, for spiritual breakthrough, especially with Uranus opposing this house. This is indicating a lightning flash, a pineal gland download, a massive disruption of your ordinary consciousness. On a practical note, job opportunities from far off lands, people, and shores may show up. Okay, so if you're looking for that kind of opportunity, then this basket could drop in work opportunities from faraway places and people. I forgot to mention what Mars could also do. Mars could also drop in some kind of chironic healing of your wound around romantic love. But if he's doing that, he's also connecting it to the cutting and severing of karmic debt relationships, where you've been engaging in debt service in your long-term love stories or your short-term love stories, and that pattern wants to break. Pattern interrupt. Why not get a karmic reward partner instead of a karmic debt partner? Something in the last weeks of July can open up a perception shift or a reality shift on that storyline. Okay. Let me know how that feels for you guys. Aquarius, sun, moon, rising, I am one of you, and we have a basket across angularity. This angularity, as I talked about with Scorpio, means game changing. End of your reality as you know it. It's the end of the world as you know it, and it is fine, okay? It's totally okay because Jupiter is Mr. Benefic, and he's looking at you directly. You're here. This is your sun. This is your moon. This is your rising. We just sweep it all to the first house, and he's eyeballing you across the way. So you got the gaze of the guru on you, the gaze of the king, the gaze of the good one, and the gaze of this energy feels good on you. You're probably enjoying it. This basket top can indicate that it's created by others because Jupiter is your business partner. It is your marriage partner. It is, or long-term committed love partner. It is your audience, marketplace, and customers and fans, 10th from the 10th that you serve. And so this is like other people are benefically orienting towards you. And the basket wants to drop this way into the bottom half, the sublunar sphere, the darkness of the sky. The very introspective part of the chart is where the goodies are dropping. But where are they dropping from? Well, Jupiter says, let's drop from Sag. What is that? That's your 11th house of karmic rewards and cosmic rewards and windfalls and pennies from heaven. Depends on what you have up here. My midheaven is up here. If you have anything near 4 degrees, it's even more potent. But things are dropping down from your 11th house, and it's going to serve you because this is a good house, and Jupiter's a good guy, and it's trinal. So it's like good opportunities through others will come dropping in. This basket has been forming all through July. For example, I was asked to be on Emilio Ortez's show, which I'm going to film in July. And I was also asked, thank you, Amrit Sandhu, to be on Inspired Evolution and voted in by his inner member circle as their choice. Thank you, member circle of Amrit Sandhu. And I am seeing the basket dropping the same thing that I'm just telling you about. Career opportunities, 11th house, goals, dreams, and wishes, long-range plans and dreams. I put Amrit and Emilio on a wish list in 2024, November, and here it came up this year. So I got a little lag in my manifestation, but nonetheless, it happened. And so Jupiter is Emilio. Jupiter is Amrit. Who are these generous, magnanimous, powerful people that show up in your life? Now, this basket's been building all through July, but it gets even more potent, on the 16th of July to the end of the month. So look for support from these others, including your partner in marriage, including a business partner that brings you more karmic rewards, windfalls, pennies from heaven, gratitude, visualization, actualization, long-range goals, plans, and dreams. And also you might benefit from a sibling, one older, or just friends in high places, because that's the 11th, like the powerful others, your benefactors and allies who are there to support you. There's a gracious energy in the sky for Aquarius in the last 2 weeks of July. Now, you'll notice that as things fall from the Gemini sky into the 5th house, they're falling into like the surprise and the shock or the unexpected downloads or the electric current of Uranus. So look for your inspiration, your entrepreneurial stuff, your creativity to also take off. Mars rules your 10th house of career. Scorpio, not Pluto. That's why we use ancient traditional rulerships to make sense of our sky. Come to Sky Reader. Mars drops what into your sky? Well, career opportunities, career directions, career matters, all the way down to the 4th house, all the way down to your 4th house. What's down there? Chiron. Chiron's going to heal something. What is he going to heal? Ancestral wounds, childhood wounds, wounds from the ancestral well. The muddy water wants to clear up here in the well of your ancestral line. I had an ancestral path dream last night, and you are the clearer of the ancestral losses, the ancestral wounds, and the ancestral stories that need to be healed through the chain of the ancestors behind you to heal the ancestors that come after you, including your already own born children and grandchildren. So you are a vessel and a vector under the sky, and what drops here heals your ancestral line and your future generations that come after you. Interesting, because Mars, as it orchestrates this, is doing it from the house of the divine spark. The 5th house is why you get out of bed in the morning. It's what gives you the juice and vitality for life. It's what makes you inspired, filled with spirit, enthusiastic for reality. It can be a manifestation house. It's alignment with the divine will. It's the muse in your creativity. It's follow your bliss, Joseph Campbell. And when you're in that energy, when you feel that, you're full of life, and it doesn't matter. You're not thinking about the bottom line. You're thinking about how excited you are for what you're doing. Funny enough, for example, I worked in New York City as a magazine editor in my 20s. I couldn't wait to get to work every day and walk past the Empire State Building and see my office on, whatever street that was now. I loved my job. There is a ladybug on the window for you guys. For all Aquarius listening, she's on my window, and ladybugs are luck. And I dreamt about a ladybug last night. And luck and divine luck and Mary Magdalene and the lady who saves the crops. Okay, she's here for you and she's here for me. So what you're here to do, and she was in my dream last night, nothing Mercury retrograde for divine synchronicity. Trust this story. Something profound is trying to happen. Ultimately, say align your will with divine will, but it's only one will anyway. Understand that there's a spark of creative enthusiasm within you that's waiting like a lighter to be lit with Mars Uranus in the 5th house. And when you feel that more joyful sense of life unfolding, it should be available during the last 2 weeks of July, as this basket wants to receive this energy orchestrated by Jupiter. You'll feel it because of the generosity and grace and goodness of those around you, whether it's your business partner, your spouse, or your clients, your audience and marketplace, or influential people who want to benefit you. This is a golden 2 weeks down the run, July 16th, the end of July. Please know this is general bell curve astrology, but this is how I'm reading it. Ultimately, by 2044, you're going to want to get rich, because Pluto says rich and powerful are up to you, but divinely purposed and orchestrated by a transpersonal energy that moves through you as you. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign, you are not even last this time, and you are never least. So those mystic poets of the zodiac, what do you feel in this story? Well, first of all, the Barbault Basket is here. I've covered it in another video. Go with it. Anyone got 4 degrees anywhere, you're feeling it. Planets, placements, sun, moon, and rising, all that good stuff. But this is a basket that's angled to the top of the sky. It's trying to catch stuff up here for the most part above the 7th house. So that's the daylight hours. And the basket is also connected to an opposition between Pluto and Jupiter. And Jupiter is a guru and goodness and fairy godfather and Santa Claus and all the good things in life. No hardship there. You're saying yes. And what Jupiter wants to drop into the basket for you in the last 2 weeks of July will be up to him, but he's activating your 10th house of career. He's the owner of it. And that's going to drop something right down to the 4th house. And the 4th house represents your home life. And it's also your childhood. And it's also your ancestral line. And I wonder if you're dropping something deep here, because Jupiter is in the work and livelihood house. He's trinal to the house of earnings, where your Neptune and Saturn sit. I think some of you are really aligning yourself deeply with success financially through job, work, and career, to the point you've probably never experienced this kind of possibility. It's been building in July, and then it opens up even more wide in the second half of July. And you're probably noticing either a new success in your career is starting to germinate, new career opportunities are emerging, maybe new joyful enjoyment, Jupiter in the 6th, of the work you're doing in the world. Some of you may need to use your voice in your work. You may have to speak, you may have to talk, but there's a sense of satisfaction here. And it's kind of satisfaction that comes from being the right person in the right place at the right time. You are in your zone of genius. And so the universe is trying to open that possibility up more broadly, more clearly, more beautifully in the last half of July. Now, of course, if you don't like your job and it's really not your cup of tea and you can't stand it and all of that, yes, maybe you're going to make a change, because Mars is in the 4th house, opposite the 10th, sextiles Jupiter. All said and done, a surprising new direction in career can open up for those of you who aren't pleased with what you're doing, and it will kind of take you by surprise. So there is a surprise new opening for a job or career direction in the last 2 weeks of July, and it could happen a bit before that. Mars is the ruler. Mars is the boss of. Mars is the number one guy of your 9th house. What is your 9th house? Your 9th house is your house of God, and that is a deep spiritual, religious, spiritual, mystical place where we have our ideology of how life works. But it's dharmic. It means purpose. It means our life's purpose in terms of talents and gifts and meaning and alignment and being in the flow of one's own reason for being on the planet. Like, we don't incarnate just to, right, watch Netflix. We have ideas, a soul, why we're here. Our purpose doesn't have to be a job. To love my children deeply, to Care for my eldering parents. And your incarnational strategies, yours to know, not mine to tell you. But our purpose energies are the ninth is one of the ninth houses, ninth, fifth, one, our purpose orientation, significance of your life. I bring that up because Mars says, let's drop something in from here into the third house. And Mars is doing that from the fourth, the ancestral line, your childhood stories and stuff like that. This is not too shabby for those of you who are writers and writing, publishing, but also divining, scrying, being the oracle, being the one who tells people what may happen, being the guide to other people. And that is because the third house is that stuff, right? You go to the ninth house to go seek the Delphi oracle on a pilgrimage, but down here you just go down to the little local psychic shop, right, and get a reading. So if you are in that professional capacity, or you work in the online world, or you're a writer, you're healing some chironic wounds in the next 2 weeks about your realm that has to do with those things. Some of you might bring a new guide, teacher, or mentor into your life, or mentor, guide, and teach others, but you're feeling more satisfaction in that realm. And Mars is here because he's making changes at the root of the sky. He's saying, okay, wait a minute, let's clip away the dead weight of the rotting root system here that's not letting you flourish in your career. There are deep inner changes going on within you that really reflect a cutting away from childhood and ancestral stories that have literally held you back. And you're having it happen in a rare, once in a lifetime formation in our sky. So all I can say about this is that, wow, where you have not been able to succeed in your career and ambition and alignment with purpose, it's changing. This is your time. By the time we get to mid-August, you should have it in the rearview mirror and know this to be somewhat true. So I'm wishing you the best engagement in this narrative, right? There's many other things going on, maybe some tough times with your partner, but we're focused on this right now. That's the point of this video. Okay, Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising, we have a story where the basket is opening its skies to that this half of the sky is kind of getting to be a hemispheric story now. We're on the western hemisphere of the chart. This is Pluto. This is Jupiter. They are opposite each other. They're the ones that create the little basket cradle energy that something wants to fall into. And energetically speaking, Jupiter in the good fortune house as a good fortune planet is extremely auspicious. Jupiter is saying, I want to bring good fortune to you, whether that's creative, artistic, or fertility, or pregnancy, or childbirth, or pregnancy. He rules your house of childbirth. He's in the house of children. There's a lot of fertility and the richness, creativity, and generative energy in the sky. What do you want to generate in life? Do you want to generate a child? Do you want to generate a book? Do you want to generate an artistic endeavor? Do you want to generate a business? This is what Jupiter will ask you in the next year. This basket is opening up awesome possibilities for all of that. If you want to have a baby, it's very fertile. If you want to give birth, it's very auspicious. Now, Jupiter, Pluto, intense, right? But what does it open up to? Here, Jupiter says, let's drop goodies in from the ninth house. Well, that's labor and delivery. So for you, like pregnant people, like my daughter-in-law who's an Aries, this is I think an auspicious placement. There is some things to consider that Jupiter is protecting the whole child and labor and delivery, but with Mars across the way, that sometimes can end up being like an induced labor or a C-section or just an episiotomy. But I'm just saying there's that vibe here. The other element, though, is that Jupiter wants to drop deep dharmic matters into your basket, purpose, the meaning of why you're on the planet, your dharmic alignment. Some of you, it may be to be creative in the teaching realm or in the online world or in the realm of writing. So third house can also bring entrepreneurial things online. You might look as well as this basket is dropping things into what Mars's agenda might be. Mars is like all about the Scorpio sky, and that's your eighth house of chunky money. Yes, you don't have to earn that money, right? It's a government grant. It's a inheritance. It's money from the spouse. The in-laws give you money. This is dropping into the basket too. With chironic wounds in the second house, you might be feeling that in the last 2 weeks of July, money is difficult for you, but then there will be other forms of money that want to emerge and fall into your realm to support you financially without having to worry about your pocketbook, wallet, and resources. And I mean, Jupiter's in the house of winning money, the house of good fortune. If you are to win money, it could come from other people, though it doesn't mean it's your ticket. Like your in-laws give you money. They're a source of good fortune. For example, if you have anything going on, like with stock investments and speculation, you could hit the big jackpot and have something take off in the second half of July. And you might want to cash in on that, right? Rather than hold too long. And another thing about the sky with the eighth house, it depends on where you're at in your spiritual journey, but Jupiter is the guru and he can bring you enlightenment-y stuff. And this is one of those spiritual awakening houses, and it's trinal to the North Node in the big awakening house, and Mercury the messenger in the fourth, kind of dominating the last 2 weeks of July as a potential awakening spiritually energy as well. If you have ancestors and beloveds who are dead, especially if it's a sibling, then this sky opens up guidance, support, information, and like feeling in touch with the dead. And it's particularly activating the dead sibling stories, for not that everyone has dead siblings. So if you do have siblings who passed, then this could be their intersection in your life to bring support to you in whatever it is you're going through during the second half of July. So it's always good to ask the ancestors, but also ask those who passed away that were close to you, who were like a sibling or a sibling for real. All right, so that's what I have for you, Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Love the sky. And you know, with Jupiter in your fifth house, I forgot to say, this is a very fertile time. If you are of baby making age and you're not thinking a baby's up, you're up for a baby, a conception, then the second half of July can be a fertility window, a pregnancy window. And therefore, just be more cautious than normal, just in case. And otherwise, go for it. Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. I love the basket. It's completely angular. You've got this total angle of the 4th, 10th house activated, as does Scorpio, right? And as does Leo, and as does Aquarius, and as do you. You're a fixed sign. This basket is a big deal to you. And energetically, it's going to be very life-changing. There's no two ways about it. There's so many things this basket can bring you. I could be here for 2 hours, but what I need to mention in the last half of July for your story is that there may be some profound changes in your career direction, because Jupiter opposite Pluto is engaging a kind of dynamic tension around prosperity and abundance versus your ambition and career, and shifting the whole playing field completely. On a more difficult side, Jupiter rules your house of inheritance and Pluto's in the house of the father. And therefore, the second half of July can bring inheritance monies from somebody who is an elder parent. Now, it can be mother or father in this sky. I'm not going to go into all the reasons, but an elder parent or grandparent may be producing a windfall for you in a way, or more money for you in a way, in that last 2 weeks of July. What we also notice is that because Jupiter is the ruler, what drops into the basket comes from the Sag sky, what wants to drop in here, right? What wants to drop in here is chunks of money. Yes, it could be an inheritance. It could be spousal separation. It could be money from your in-laws. It could be a stock investment that pays off. I don't know, but money that isn't earned directly in a paycheck that comes at you all of a sudden, or a big commission check, or a giant Google AdSense check because your video went viral, whatever. This is money that shared with others is rolling down the pipeline into your second house, and you're taking possession in your pocketbook, purse, and wallet of some kind of money. And you're surprised, says Uranus. You didn't see it coming. It was unexpected in some way during the last half of July. Jupiter can also drop from the 8th house, anything to do with family secrets, anything from your growing up years that nobody told you, anything about the ancestors you never knew. Those secrets can come falling into the story, and they may come through stories that are told to you verbally. There's a lot of energy around the second house of the voice. So who's speaking those stories, I don't know, but you might be surprised to find out that you have a sibling you didn't know about, or that your parent was somebody else's, not yours, or there's that secret stories that you never knew. Pluto says, let's uncover them. Jupiter says it's good to know them. and let's uncover them. So look for family secrets to drop your way, family of origin secrets in the 2 weeks of July, the second half of the month. The basket is run by also a story that has scorpionic energy. This is your house of long-term committed love. This is a spouse. This is a business partner. This is a committed monogamous relationship, maybe cohabitational or common law. And maybe this can reflect how you approach your marketplace, clients, audience, fans, right? That's 10th from the 10th. The outpicturing who receives the visible output of your hard work in your career. It's interesting because Taurus, Mars is suggesting spousal, business deals, legal contracts dropping in the last half of the month. Now, because Jupiter's in a land and property, it can be like someone wants to buy your real estate. There's an offer on the table for some financial dealings to do with land, property, real estate, or yes, inheritances. And the other thing I would say is that you might notice that as this bucket is dropping this way, Mars is ruling it from a chunk for money. Take possession of some money, folks. Taurus says you can get some money out of this. Money can come from your spouse, and they may be getting money from their in-laws. And you may be partaking of that, like you may from their family and your in-laws. So in-law money could come into your realm in the last couple of weeks of July as well. And, you know, there's a chironic wound starting to heal in Taurus till mid-September. This is a third week of June to mid-September, testing the waters here. You are going to focus primarily on aligning with your true purpose in the next few years, the next 8 or 9 years. And as you're doing that alignment, you know, over and over again, Chiron keeps reminding you, use your talents, use your gifts, use your skills. You've been through a lot. Take your wounds and make them gifts for the world. Find that key to your true purpose. Now, ultimately, that's a journey that we don't really fully resolve until around 50 years old on our Chiron return. But we have incremental points along the way where we tap into this question, you know, what is my purpose? Chiron is that guy, and he's in your sign. So a lot of this basket will also remind you of that question, because we have Chiron, we have Pluto and Jupiter, and we have the T-square. So you're like, oh my God, like I need to be in my purpose mode. And whatever drops from the 7th house into this basket, look then for opportunities financially that feel purpose driven or purpose aligned. So that's the thing is for you to consider. And maybe there's an opportunity to rest easy, because maybe money comes to you in a chunky way, and now you have time to take some, you know, grinding day job and put it aside and just rest a bit and find out what you are really wanting to do and be in this world, because you were born for a reason and a season and a time. I just made that one up. And yeah, be careful for fertility on the side. This is the side story, but I needed to bring it up for you because there's just this little, you know, side hustle over here. This can be unexpected fertility, or fertility that is destined or fated. But for any Tauruses not wanting to make a baby, you might want to be careful. But you know, there's that vibe going on during the second half of July. So there's a fertility side hustle going on here, says Venus and Mars ruling this. Okay, so just watch out for that. I mean, you could birth a business. You could be creating something artistic and skills-based, but otherwise there is like making babies could happen under the sky. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. Barbault's basket is alive and well in the second half of July. Barbault's basket is telling you you're going to catch something in it. Ignore the moon is making me dizzy too. Let's take the moon out. It is inessential. This is the basket. What wants to drop into the basket is something good for you. It's receptive energy, and it's receiving something full of beautiful blue lines called sextiles and trines. So we know that the basket has a harmonious nature, and it is going to be operational across 3 and 9. That's the houses of the actual opening to the basket. This Jupiter in your 3rd house and Pluto in your 9th. Now the 3rd house, Jupiter, says, well, we'll like things to be received into the basket that may connect you to online social media stories that are prosperous and successful, sibling relationship prosperity and success, things to do with shorter distance travel or even long distance travel and success, and things to do with your ideas and the way you communicate, bringing success and bounty and goodness to your life. As this thing is operating like this, we want to know what's coming into this basket. And one way to do that is to look at Jupiter and Mars. Jupiter is in Leo, holding the basket, ruling Sag. Oh, you're going to drop stuff this way. So what drops into your basket? Business partnership opportunities, fans, audience, marketplace, customers, significant long-term love relationship, ability to track that to your basket. If you do track that to your basket, you're shocked and surprised because Mars and Uranus represent unexpected surprises that you're experiencing personally that are going to have life-changing directions for you. So we're not talking about you're going on the 100th Tinder date or something like that. If people date on that, I don't know. But I'm saying that it could be fast, lightning swift, and surprising. Look to the second half of July for the possibility of a meeting. It will be of the quality of fated and destined, close to home, and connected to long-term love. All right, it will, even upon first meeting, have a feeling that this is not just a fling. So if you're single, if you're with somebody already, look for your long-term love partner or your business partner to drop something your way that surprises you into your basket, and you're going to receive it with a catcher's mitt right here. Right? I got it. Got my catcher's mitt up. Could be an idea someone gives you. Could be an opportunity someone you know gives you. Jupiter rules your 10th house of career as well. So there's a vibe there. What is this opportunity? Mars is involved. Mars is connected to a part of the story. He's hanging out with Uranus in your sign. You're pretty intense right now, right? You've got a lot of electricity in your body right now. You're probably fired up with new ideas and you're pretty passionate about stuff. But as you're doing that, you'll notice that you're also Mars going to be offered baskets of goodies coming, like droppings from the tree here into the basket of sixth house matters. Sixth house matters are work matters. Usually 9 out of 10 times it's to do with work, job, employee-employer relationships. And so, or, you could drop some new employees into your basket. I'm looking for a customer service person and my guy Christy is scouting out for someone good to do my customer service emails. There's a new employee dropping into the basket. But also you might have new job opportunities, career opportunities dropping into the basket as well. And they're probably electrically charged because Mars and Uranus say brand new, exciting, amazing ahas, divine downloads, crystallizations of a light bulb moment about work and career, job and money. I think I had that today already. And the basket's active on July 11th when I'm recording. It's just getting tighter closer to the 16th. And you might find that you can resolve health problems that have troubled you. Chiron is like the mentor, the guide, the healer in the 12th house of self-undoing, looking at the house of sickness. And the Mars says, let's drop something from that house here. And Chiron's like, okay, I'm the healer. I got it. If you have any challenges to your health that have been persistent, and you can have challenges to your lungs, your arms, your hands, your shoulders, kind of this vibe, Gemini, or to your urogenital stories, yeah, Scorpio, then this is a very healing opportunity that this last half of July is showing you something towards the physical body and its healing. You could drop an animal into your life. That would be a pet. But Chiron is in the house of big ones like horses, but animals can come into your life as well as a result of the last half of July that are very important and very healing and very spiritually healing for you as well. Debts and rental properties belong to the sixth house. If something drops in there, you may have an opportunity to rent a property connected to a place in a far off land or shore, maybe even rent your own property, but get a rental. And that's what we've got for you. I don't see this really about debts per se, my credit card debt or something, because Chiron is healing the wound of expenditures. The way you have a lot of money, you have to output and expend. Those expenses and expenditures are chironically being healed in the last half of July. So you may feel better overall about your financial spending situation as there's a Martian energy coming in from the sixth house. Okay. All right. Let's get going and talk about the next sign. If you're Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this basket, this once in a lifetime formation, is on a money axis for you. It's houses 2 and 8. This is money you make. Jupiter says, let's make more. All Cancers are going to get richer financially through making money in the next 12 months. But also, Pluto says, also let's dig up some money from the hidden realms. The last little bit of an inheritance money you forgot you had. Money from your spousal shared resources or spousal alimonies, or money connected to your Google AdSense or book royalty income, those kinds of money. So this is an opening across a money axis. So first thing, it's a lot of money stuff, Cancer, one way or the other. You can't ignore it. The way this looks to me is that Jupiter in your house of wallet, pocketbook, money, purse, resources, financial possessions, and possessions in general, rules the workhouse. There's no way that money looks to me like you don't earn it. You're going to work for it and work hard. But the basket brings in the last half of July this sense of abundance and glow and opportunity. And if you're looking for work, then this could bring an opportunity for a new job that will go the distance. Because if you say yes to a job in the last 2 weeks of July, you're likely going to want to dig in there and persevere and stick with it for quite a while. And with Jupiter getting Saturn getting ready to go retrograde at the end of July, like July 26th, 7th, then maybe old job opportunities from the past, that you haven't done for a long time, professional activities or people from professional realms come back to you from the past and ignite you back into a work situation or a job that you have done before, and you're going to go back and do it again. A callback, so to speak. All right. Jupiter wants to improve your diet through health, through food, right? So the way this basket shows up is you might be learning new knowledge, new wisdom, a book you read, a teacher, someone coming to you to show you an opportunity to change your diet to increase your health and vitality, especially good for your hip health and your digestive health. So issues with your hip, your pelvic bowl, and your digestion are actually kind of coming into a we can heal this mode, and we can find a new dietary habit, maybe anti-inflammation, in the last 2 weeks of July that resolves your dietary digestive tract stuff as well as your hips, Sag and Cancer. And I want to mention the basket in one other regard, which is Mars. Mars is the ruler of Scorpio. He's a part of co-holding the basket bottom with Uranus. And Scorpio is your 5th house, and that is good fortune in any which way you parse it. So good fortune wants to drop in the basket as well to heal a chironic wound about your long-range goals and dreams. The good fortune can come from digital income and borderless revenue, money made from foreign lands and shores, money connected to publications, book publishing, teaching, learning, or being an assistant to those in power, being a hand of the king. And the kind of money here is definitely, it's like I work for a foreign company, I work in a foreign country, or foreign people or far off people are resourcing my money for me. I'm making money that way. And it's funny because this can be, I'm in LA and this is New York. That's far away enough. The 12th house doesn't have to be international. It's just far off places. And so those intersections from far off people and far off places are part of how good fortune is coming to you, is dropping your way somehow. And Jupiter talking to the Mars Uranus says, look for digital income, borderless revenue, online marketing and sales as well. Those kinds of monies you make because we use PayPal, Stripe and all of that, where we don't need to be local to people anymore. So that non-local income looks quite large right now for you. Okay. And it's going to increase over the second half of July. And you're going to have a feeling that it's good fortune. Maybe it's going to allow you to begin to look at the wounds and then the healing of your long-range goals, plans, and dreams for your reality. And this is the house of your benefactors and allies. I'm bringing it up because this house witnesses that, so the things drop right into your 11th house. This could even be a sibling one older than you, and also a sibling one older than you bringing good fortune to you, or they're receiving some good fortune as well. But it benefits you in a beautiful way. All said and done, You are under that Cazimi that happened on the 12th, and it's a rare event based on the sky. Yes, it's 2019-20, but it goes back further because of the stars, Castor and Pollux. You have to go back to 1990, 91, and or way back further to 1947. I did that webinar. Make sure you watch the replay, because by the time you see this on the 16th, that energy is still in play till November. It's really something that teaches you about how the next few months go, not just this particular Cazimi day that's behind you by the time you watch this video. Okay, I just finished recording that long video for you guys about the Barbault Basket, and my whole Riverside shut down. So I wanted to say goodbye properly. I think hopefully I said goodbye properly to the last sign, which was Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So this is me, Lori at Lunatic Astrology, and hopefully you guys are interested perhaps in coming to Sky Reader and learning with me. I'd love to see you there. And so please come join me. And if you want to know more about the course and what it's all about, I'll append right now, ding, right after this, a little me showing you the website, me walking you through some of the highlights of the course, so you'll know what it's about. And they'll get you maybe a little more curious about going to the website and checking it out. So hopefully I didn't get kicked out of Riverside Recording Studio before I finished the Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I'll see you guys around. Take care.
Lunatic astrology.